Okay, so several people have asked how to draw different types of flowers. So I'm gonna do a couple of videos, a couple of different videos, maybe 3 different videos on how to draw these different types of flowers. I'm gonna start with the roses because they're really the easiest. I'm gonna show you 3 different ways to do that. But then we'll do a separate video for this Gerber daisy type flower and then this lily type flower here. Okay. All right, so we're going to start with the roses. Today I'm going to be using some Neocolor II water soluble crayons. They're basically watercolor crayons. They're really my favorite supply to use. I just think they're super versatile and just fun, and you can do lots of stuff with them. But you can use any media you want for this. Colored pencils, markers, you name it. You can use it for this. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a circle. I'm starting with my lighter color so you can see the details whenever we add those in just a minute. So I'm just coloring this in. Getting it good and colored and covered. And then I'm going to pick up my water pen. And this is a really cool tool. If you do not have these, you put water inside of it, and then you can kind of squeeze out whatever water you need to in the brush, and that blends in the crayon. It kind of turns it to paint, watercolor. So after I blended that out, I'm going to come in with my heat tool and kind of dry that off just a little bit, do a little quick dry. Now this is not a hair dryer, this is a heating tool. It's a little bit different than a hair dryer. It gets hotter than a hair dryer, and it also doesn't blow. So for some projects, hair dryers will work fine. For a lot of them, they will not. So I'm coming in with my darker red, and I'm going to outline the outside of the circle. And then this is pretty easy. I'm just going to swirl it around, and there you go. There's the rose. Now, if you're using markers or colored pencils, then you're finished there. But if you are using watercolor pencils or water-soluble crayons or something like that, then you don't have to, but you might want to come back in with the water brush and blend that out, kind of like I'm doing here, so that the strokes aren't quite so choppy, I guess. I like to make sure it's good and blended. Then I'm going to take, I have 2 shades of green. I'm going to take the lighter shade and draw a couple of leaves out to the side of the rose. These are really easy. You can make them more elaborate if you want, but these are the same kind of rose petals we've been drawing since we were kids. So I did that with my lighter green. And then I'm going to come in with the darker green and highlight that around the edges, outline it. Make a little bit darker around the rose so that it's kind of like a shadow. And then I'm going to come in with my water pen again and blend that out. Sometimes it takes me a little while to get it exactly like I like it. Just keep blending until you see it the way you want it. And a little bit more dark green. And there we go. So I'm going to come back in with my heat tool. Well, dry this off. And then this is my favorite part, actually. You need to come in and outline, but you're going to need, this is a Tombow calligraphy pen, but it has a feltish tip to it, brush tip. You do not want to use a pen like this that has a nib like that, like the Faber-Castell pens or Micron pens or Illustrated Faith pens. I may or may not have had to throw quite a few of those away because I've ruined them with the wax. So this is how I like to outline. I do a really easy trick to hide any imperfections is to kind of do a messy outline, do different layers of outlines, so it might hide any imperfections that you might have. I tend to have a lot of those, so the messier the outline, in my opinion, the better, because it also makes it look like imperfections are supposed to be there. That's totally up to you how you want to do it. If you want it to be a neat outline, then by all means go in and be neat about it. Alright, it's time for our second type of rose. We start out the same way with our circle. Fill that in with the lighter color. And like I said, you can use colored pencils or markers. If you use those, however, you will not need the next step, which is blending those in with the water brush. Kind of speeding that up just a little bit so you don't have to wait so long just watching the same process over and over again. After it's dry, or after you've filled in your circle, then that's when you need to bring in your darker color. So I'm coming back in with the darker red, and I'm outlining around the circle. And then this time, instead of a swirly, we're going to kind of make some triangles. Start one part of the rose, make a big triangle, kind of curve the edges, and then make a smaller one, curve the edges, smaller and smaller again. Super easy. If you want to come back over one more time and just darken those in, you can. And then here in just a second, I'm going to come back in and blend those once again with my water brush. Just make sure you get all of those lines good and dark, no matter what media you're using. Alright, so I'm going to blend it out with my water brush. I just like the edges to be a little bit softer. And then the leaves are just the same as last time, so I'm going to speed that up a little bit so you don't have to hear me talk about it, or just watch the long drawn out process all over again for sake of time. We'll just speed that up. It'd be cool if I really worked that fast. Come in and outlining those leaves again. And blending with my water brush once more. I'm come in with my heat tool and dry that really quickly so that I can outline with my pen, my black pen. And remember, when you're outlining, you can be as precise or as random as you want to be with your outlines. Like I said, I like a messy outline because it hides any imperfections that I might have had while I was originally drawing out the flower. I just think they're fun too, to have the messy outlines. But like I said, that's just preference. So it's time for our third and final rose of the night. I feel like I'm on The Bachelor. Once again, we're going to draw in and color in our circle. All 3 roses start the same way. Make sure it's good and filled in. Then I'm going to come in with my water brush and blend that out. I like the ease of these crayons, and then, you know, once you add the water to it, then you don't see like the color lines. I'm just wiping that off with a baby wipe. So I got a little green in my rose earlier. I'm going to come in with my darker crayon and outline the circle. This is a little bit like the rounded triangles I showed you a minute ago. This time you're just going to make like a little half moon effect on one end. And then you're going to come over on the other side and make another half moon. You want it to kind of cross over your first line. And then you're going to make another arced line, come across, make another. I couldn't decide where I wanted to put that. Make another there, and then one kind of across from that. I really couldn't decide where I wanted it. And then you're going to make the last one and then kind of come in and make a little swirl. I think this method makes the roses a little more dimensional than the others. But really just kind of play with it and see which way you like the best, which way's easiest for you. When I first started, all I did was the swirl roses because that's all I was brave enough to do. And they looked fine. But these other 2 are a little bit more dimensional, like I said. I'm going to come in with my water brush and soften that just a little bit. Blend it in. I just love how these Neocolors blend so well too. I feel like I can do that better than other media that I have used before. I use these for a lot of my entries. Probably the majority I use these. And like I said, they're Neocolor II water-soluble crayons. So it's basically you color like you do with your old Crayolas, and then you come in with a water brush and it turns into paint. There are other ways that you can use those too. I can show you some links to videos, but for this video we'll just stick to coloring and then painting over with the water brush. Just love how they blend. I'm just going to keep blending it out until I kind of like the colors. This heat tool saves me a lot of time. I'm not very patient to wait for something to dry. Okay, and now it's time to come in with my marker and outline again. And here I made a really big circle, didn't mean to, so I'm just going to make some more little circles inside of it so it looks like maybe that was my plan. That's really all you gotta do is make it look like that's what you were planning to do to begin with, and people will think that your artwork is great, right? That's what I tell myself anyway. I'll just have fun with the messy lines. And here are 3 different roses. 3 different types. Really not too hard, was it? This is just something fun. I wanted just to kind of make it pop a little bit, so I added a little bit of a light blue around it, just for fun. Give it a happy little friend outline. I sound like Bob Ross, don't I? Look at these friend roses, happy roses. And I'm going to show you a page I've done that I used these roses just the other day. This was the third technique that I used to make these. There you have it, 3 different methods to make a rose. I hope this helped you guys.